Hey guys, Sid here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be part of this too crew, my fan group. Thank you all so much for the support on the most recent video, the football video where I talk about the tier. I make a tier ranking for the starting QBs this upcoming NFL season. Again, thank you all so much for the support. And if you're new to my channel, welcome to the Sid Shankar Show. Here we talk about sports and like video games and all that kind of stuff. And I thank you all so much for embarking on this amazing journey with me into becoming a better YouTuber. I can't wait to go on this journey with you guys. It's going to be so much fun. So stick around and we'll have a great time. So last video was I did a tier ranking for NFL QBs as I mentioned before. So today we're going to be switching over to baseball. So today we're going to be doing a tier list for where I think teams stand in terms of making the postseason or where I think they're going to finish at the end of the season based on their current pace. So like, you know, yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory, but yeah, that's pretty much what this video is going to be. Let's get it on. So, World Series contenders, that's pretty self-explanatory. I think they're going to be in contention for the that World Series championship. Division contenders, they're going to win the division, but they're not going to I don't think they're going to make it too far in the playoffs. They're not going to make the World Series. They could make it far, but I don't think these division contenders aren't quite World Series contenders yet because of one key missing piece. Wild card, again, that's pretty self-explanatory. We'll make playoffs, but they're gonna finish above 500. So like, if you're finishing 82 and 80, obviously you won't make the playoffs. So something like that. A bad team's like a third or fourth place team that's under 500, and then bottom of the pile is just the worst of the worst. Like there's no real hope for them in the second half of the season, especially since we're so close to the All-Star break. So we're gonna be starting off with my least favorite team in the league, the New York Yankees. They won't make the playoffs, but they're going to finish above 500 at their current pace. Obviously, they're a really really bad team. Like I expected them to win the division. I never expected the Red Sox to be this good. We'll get to them in a second, by the way. But the New York Yankees. I mean, the Luke Voigt has been injured. They've just none of their guys have really been performing all too well. Obviously, Judge is going to start an All-Star game. He's going to start his third All-Star game. And Giancarlo Stanton, he's kind of hit us some. Chapman's just been horrible. He's allowed so many runs. Garrett Cole's allowed so many home runs. So, and Luis Severino, I think, is out for a little bit longer. So they definitely won't be making the playoffs. But I think they're going to finish about 2 or 3 games above 500. But we'll see. The Seattle Mariners, this is a really tough one. Ooh, I mean, they've been playing pretty well as of late. They've just been scrubbing together wins against like terrible teams. But this is a really tough one. I don't know if I should put them in wild card or they won't make. I'm gonna say they won't make the playoffs just because the Indians and the Athletics exist. Obviously, they're both wild card teams. Maybe the Athletics could win the division. I don't know. We'll talk about that in a second. But the Seattle Mariners, I don't think they'll make the playoffs despite having an above 500 season. Kind of like they did a few years ago with Nelson Cruz and Jane Segura and Edwin Diaz winning the reliever of the year back in 2018, I believe. I think they finished 83 and 79, but obviously they didn't make the playoffs. So yeah, I think that's a fair place for the Seattle Mariners. Tampa Bay Rays, they're definitely like a wild card team. Um, the Rays, obviously, Tyler Glasnow, their best pitcher, one of the best pitchers in the whole league, is injured. Their lineup's just like kind of oof. Kiermaier just sucks. Wander Franco's not doing very good. Yandy Diaz, not doing very good. Brandon Lau downright sucks. And then Austin Meadows, he's not having the All-Star caliber year he had back in 2019. So the Rays are going to be, I think they're going to be a wild card team. I think they're going to be the one wild card team over the Oakland Athletics. So yeah, that's pretty much where they're going. The Toronto Blue Jays, they're definitely not making the playoffs, but they're going to be above 500. Their lineup is absolutely nasty. You got Marcus Semien, Bo Bichette, Vladdy Jr. How could I forget Vladdy? Kevin Biggio even isn't having an okay year. Randall Grichuk, Teoscar Hernandez. But their pitching is just absolutely atrocious. They have arguably the worst bullpen in baseball, but the Atlanta Braves exist. The Toronto Blue Jays, if you gave them good pitching, they may be a wild card tier team. They're definitely not in contention for the division or nowhere near World Series contenders right now just because of their lack of good pitching. Obviously, they have Hyunjin Ryu, who's having an off year, so to speak, but it's not a bad year when you compare it to like other pitchers and like the league average and stuff like that. So Toronto is definitely not going to make the playoffs, but they're going to finish above 500. The Miami Marlins bottom of the pile. They just suck. I can't really say much other than the fact that they're terrible. I mean, sure, they have Trevor Rogers and Josh Chisholm both in contention for Rookie of the Year, but yeah, so they're not gonna do very well. St. Louis Cardinals. This is a tough one. Like earlier in the season, I put them like in like the wild card of the division, but right now they're a pretty bad team. They dropped a lot of games. Obviously, they have Arenado, who's not. He's still having a pretty good year for third baseman, but he's not having anything like he's not playing anything like his Colorado self. So he's going there. They may prove me wrong and finish above 500, but for now, I think they're gonna finish slightly below 500. So yeah, Houston Astros. It pains me to do this because I hate the Astros with a burning passion. Second least favorite team in the league, but they're in contention for the World Series. Their lineup is absolutely filled. They got obviously Carlos Correa is having a superstar year. Altuve is definitely having a really good year. Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker, Miles Straw, Michael Brantley even is having like a fantastic year. And their pitching is absolutely phenomenal. So Houston Astros are definitely in contention for their first real World Series. So yeah, the Atlanta Braves, bad team. Their pitching is just not very good. Their bullpen, as I mentioned before, is just absolutely atrocious. I can't really say anything about that. Their lineup is pretty solid. They have Ronald Acuna Jr., who's in contention for the NL MVP. Freddie Freeman, who's kind of been picking up the pace a little bit. He's had a rough start to the year, but the reigning NL MVP is going to pick it up in the second half of the year. Then you got Ozzy Albies. Austin Riley's having a pretty good year. How do you think he'll make an All-Star game appearance in Colorado? But yeah, the Atlanta Braves are a bad team. They could be like the Cardinals, and prove me wrong. They could finish above 500, but we're going to have to see how they play out, especially with Mike Soroka, their best pitcher, is like injured, and all they have is like really Ian Anderson, and yeah. The Baltimore Orioles, again, bottom of the pile. They just suck. I can't really say much about them. They're self-explanatory. Cleveland Indians. I think the Cleveland Indians. The Cleveland Indians are right now, um, in like out of the wild card. So at this pace, they lost two. They dropped 2 games straight to the Astros. I think they're gonna finish well above 500, but they won't be in the wild card. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm gonna have to put the Indians. They could prove me wrong, and they could beat out the Rays or the Athletics for the other wild card spot. But yeah, Cleveland Indians are gonna fit right there. Colorado Rockies, bottom of the pile. Can't really say much about them. Detroit Tigers, again, like bottom of the pile. Even though they have been picking it up, they're just terrible. Royals, bottom of the pile, absolutely atrocious. Um, Milwaukee. This is a really hard one. Milwaukee's had a really good couple of games. They're on a 10-win streak, longest active streak in the majors, I believe. Um, I don't know if I have to put them in World Series contention or in division contention, because their lineup does have some empty spots. Like JBJ is not doing very good. Yelich is having a tough year, but their pitching is just beautiful. Like they have one of the best rotations, not one of the best rotations, but they have a very good rotation. One of the best bullpens in the whole league. Josh Hader. Obviously, they also have Devin Williams coming off of Rookie of the Year. This is a tough one. I'm gonna have to put them in division contention just because their lineup is missing some really key pieces. Even though their pitching is just absolutely phenomenal. The Angels, they're a bad team, even though obviously Shohei Ohtani exists and he's doing really good. They're a bad team. They're not in the bottom of the pile because they're only a few games under 500. So yeah, that's where the Angels go. Athletics, the other wild card team for the American League, pretty self-explanatory. They're not in contention for the division with the Houston Astros because even though they have a phenomenal lineup, their pitching just god-awful. I mean, their bullpen's rough outside of Lou Trevino. Their rotation's not very good outside of Chris Bassett and Sean Manaea. But if they at least fix some missing spots in their lineup, especially third base because Matt Chapman sucks, and their pitching, they could be in contention for the division with the Houston Astros. But they're not in World Series contention quite yet. Philadelphia Phillies bad team. I mean, Bryce Harper's having a pretty good year. Zach Wheeler's having a really good year. I mean, obviously Gene Segura, Didi Gregorius, Alec Boehm just sucks this year. Reese Hoskins isn't having a half bad year. Um, but yeah, they're a pretty bad team. They're not going to finish above 500. So Philly belongs in that fifth tier. Um, Pirates, self-explanatory. They just suck, despite Adam Frazier, Colin Moran, and Brian Hayes having pretty solid years. San Diego Padres, they're definitely like a wild card team, a wild card type team. Actually, now that I think about it, yeah, I can't. The Indians have to be put up here. They can't really be compared to these three teams. I don't know why I put them there. They're having a pretty good year. I thought they were just gonna suck because Lindor left, but they're proving me wrong. They're having a pretty good year. They could honestly make the wild card. They could. This could be a really nice fight between the Indians, the Athletics, and the Rays for the wild card spots. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm gonna put the Indians. The Rangers, bottom of the pile. I can't really say much about them. They just absolutely suck. My Boston Red Sox. Ooh, their starting pitching has been picking it up a little bit. Eddie had a really good game last night against the A's. I'm gonna put him in World Series contention. I can't. I'm not gonna be biased. Their rotation just not very good. I mean we can't. I can't wait for Sale to come back and Tanner Houck to be called up. But our lineup, man, our lineup's just dominating left and right. We're playing a combination of small ball. We're slugging baseballs out of the park. We're putting together some really nice pitchers duels, even like Pavetta. In the last game of the Rays series when we lost 1-0 on that walk-off wild pitch from Barnes. Obviously, we won last night. We had to win in extras because Barnes gave up a tying home run to Elvis Andrus. But and the bullpen, I thought the bullpen was going to be pretty bad. Apparently, the bullpen's just amazing. It's one of the best bullpens in baseball. It's right up there with some of the best, like Milwaukee, for example. And yeah, the Red Sox bullpen just phenomenal. The bullpen's just not really allowing runs combined with the lineup just putting together monster runs means that the Red Sox could be in contention for their 10th World Series championship in franchise history. San Fran, again, they're World Series contenders. Fantastic pitching, fantastic lineup. Obviously, the veterans are picking it up. Buster Posey's having a really good year. Brennan Belt's having a decent year for him. Crawford was having a pretty good year. He should make the All-Star game, in my opinion, as a reserve. Hell, even Longo's having a really good year. He's playing like he was back in his Tampa days. And yeah, so I think the Giants are putting together a really good year, especially with Kevin Gossman really doing good. Cueto's picking it up a little bit. Desclafani's had a rough couple of games. Same with Alex Wood. But the Giants are doing really good. And if they're young guys like Donovan Solano and Mike Yastrzemski pick it up, and maybe even if they bring Joey Bart up as a late call-up in like mid to late August, maybe even September, the Giants could be in contention for a deep postseason run, maybe even their fourth World Series ring in the 2000s. So, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm going to put the San Francisco Giants. LA Dodgers, ooh. Right now, they currently sit in the wild card, but this is so tough. I think they're in contention for the division, especially after winning the series against the Giants. I believe they swept the Giants, if I'm not mistaken. So they're definitely in contention for the division. I wouldn't put them in World Series contention yet, just because obviously we all know what happened with Trevor Bauer and those allegations. I don't know if Tony Gonsolin's going to take a spot or not. Obviously, Dustin May's out, so they really only have two number one starters. Kershaw, who's obviously the back end of his career, and Walker Buehler, who is having another phenomenal All-Star caliber year. So Dodgers are going to be in World Series contention. Arizona Diamondbacks, bottom of the pile. They just suck totally. I think they're terrible, not very good. New York Mets in contention for the division. Yeah, they've had a rough couple of games, and they only are, I believe, 4 games above 500. So, yeah, that's pretty much where I put the Mets. If they fix their lineup, if they get some better pieces at the trade deadline, they could be in contention for. They could be having a deep playoff run. I don't think they'll make the World Series because that lineup's so rough, and they've been riddled with injuries. Jeff McNeil, Mike Conforto, Brendan Nimmo, you name it. Lindor's just having a terrible year. Pete Alonso, but their pitching just amazing. Jacob deGrom, obviously, Marcus Stroman, Taijuan Walker even is having a really good year. Edwin Diaz is having a pretty good year. So yeah, I think the Mets are division contenders right now. Chicago White Sox. This is a really hard one. I don't know where to put them. I don't know. They're very high division contenders, but I don't know. This is such a hard one. Like the White Sox have been killing it. I mean, yeah, they're TA. I mean, their lineup's been pretty doing really well together. Yasmani Grandal, terrible average, really high on base percentage. Don't ask me how he does it. Um, I think the fact that they don't have Eloy and Louis Bob, that's really gonna kill them. So they're definitely really high division contenders. I think they're gonna have a very very deep playoff run. They couldn't. They're gonna make the American League Championship Series for sure, in my opinion. If they don't end up, actually, wait. Yeah, they're gonna. I think they may honestly beat out Houston in the division series to face us in the LCS, but we'll see how everything plays out. They could be wrong and be going to the World Series this year, but we're gonna have to see. Twins, they're 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 a bad team. I mean, Buxton's out. The team morale is just kind of down ever since he got injured. Nelson Cruz is having a really good year, but I can't really put the Twins anything above bad team. They're not gonna finish above 500. So yeah. Ooh, the Cubs are a wild card type team, just because they've been doing. They've had a really bad skid. Milwaukee's just been killing it, but they could prove me wrong. They could pick it up, and they could. It could be 2018 all over again, where the Cubs and the Brew Crew face off in Game 163 to see who wins the NL Central. We're gonna have to see about that. So yeah, that's pretty much where I put them. The Nationals. This is a really hard one. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but they'll definitely finish above 500 just because the Dodgers and the Padres are currently in the wild card right now for the National League. Yeah, so that's pretty much where I'm gonna put them. So yeah, that's a fair place for the Washington Nationals and the Cincinnati Reds. Last but not least, they're a bad team. I mean, they obviously have Nick Castellanos and Jesse Winker having phenomenal years, and they got Joey Votto, obviously, who's not doing very good now. They're a bad team. Jonathan India, even not, he's been kind of picking it up. I think I'm not sure, but yeah, that's pretty much the MLB tier list for where I think teams are right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon so you can see more of this kinds of content. Yeah, so be sure to check out my other videos if you haven't already. Anyways, this is Sid signing off. Peace out.